for camera actually, so your voice is.
So, thank you everybody, and I'm honored to be here today with being with all of you. Probably, I think, how many years? 35 years ago, I was on the other side of the door. What I would like to do today is give you some. This is not a lecture that I'm taking. I'm going to give. What I would like to do is share with you some of the examples in the field. And since being a technical person, or a person who is from the last 35, 40 years into technologies, so I would like to bring in at certain time the interplay between technology and sustainable development. All of you are from sustainable development and sustainability professions, or we aspire to that. Give you some examples of why are we doing this or what are we doing. This is, well, I will try to be as fast as possible, but there are a number of slides. But these are mainly pictures to give you some examples of why do we need to think about sustainability. And as a young professional, 35, 40 years ago, we never used to think of this. But over the last developments, over the last couple of decades, we are now forced to look at it. There is no other alternative. Why there are no other alternatives? Rather than to think and act on this, I'm showing you. So, some ideas of sustainability, and then I would like to look at, everybody talks about climate change, but I would like to touch on the subject of resources. Why? That is also going to come into, and then look at circularity principle, circular economy principle, and share with you some experiences in India. Why sustainability? These are, and if you see some of the problems that we have in terms of poverty, in terms of population, in terms of climate, biodiversity losses, finances, not. So these are on one hand, these are threatening the lives, and on other hand, these are also life-threatening. These are two kind of meanings, and these are the issues. Why these are the issues? Because 250 years ago, there is a technology, lots of technology. I have not even compiled all of them, it was difficult, but 250 years of technology and economic development we have seen. This is going on for the last 250 years, and what you have seen here right now, you see for the last, and if I map it in a scale of 250 years, over the last 50 years or 40 years, you see all of these population, GDP, foreign FDIs, urban population, everything that you can talk about. There is an exponential growth in the last 50 years. So if there is an exponential growth in the last 50 years, then we need to think something about it. What do we do? And if this curve grows, then we are in trouble. Why? If you see, prices have increased, our earnings have increased, not up to that to match the price levels, interest rate, dividends, all of those are financial things, but everything has been over. What it has given? We are now looking at more APIs, we are looking at higher Sensex. Every time you look at it, everybody wants to look at the Sensex, you see it is jumping around. There is, the growth rate is going up, so everything is rising. Foreign, we have huge amount of foreign investment, and overall we have a huge amount of growth. So that's the kind of scenario that is happening. But at what cost? If you see this, and this is what we call is that the Towner curve, where the richest people have 5% of the people, topmost, have 85% of the wealth, and the lowest people, the poor people, they have only around 150 times. We call it as influenza you have seen, we have called it affluence. And this is what we call as poverty. So on one hand, where you have people who are having huge amount of money and they don't know how to spend it. On the other hand, you have people who don't have the money and they don't spend it also. We have been mining the earth, taking out minerals, taking out metals. We have been, this is the kind of pollution that happens. Wherever you go in and around, you see this is the kind of pollution that happens. The countryside, what do you do in the countryside? Increase the production, you take pesticides. And all of those pesticides we are absorbing. We have done a study on in a district in UP called Sonbhat. People, if you go there, it's very difficult to see their status. Somebody is dead, somebody is coming out, somebody is not being able to walk properly. Mainly in the older people, but now it has come in the middle age. So when we did a survey, why it has come? The fluoride content of the water was very high. It was only due to fluoride, high fluoride content, which was around 10 times that the WHO limits of the Indian government. And from where, when we did a study on where the fluoride has come, these are some people geologic sources, geology, people will take better on that. But more than that, it has come use of pesticides. So you use pesticides, reduce agriculture, you increase the yield by 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. Nice looking tomatoes or nice bean looking vegetables. And then we eat it, we don't realize what is the kind of thing that we are harming ourselves. Now, climate change, of course, this is the issue that we are having. Climate change issues, we are having forest fires. This is usually we used to hear that this is an issue of US. But now, over the last year, you have seen forest fires in India, and you will see this often recurring in the country. When there is forest fires, then it is going to devastate the whole area. Very interesting. This is the kind of development that does it mean that we don't need to develop? Yes, we need to, and we need to progress. The red mark here is where we are, India. And if you see the Europe and the developed countries, they are all. This is the kind of metal use. I'm giving you one just idea on the metal use. So if we have to move from this place to that place, remember the amount of metal that we need to extract from the country, from the land. We cannot. So what the Chinese has done, I often travel to Africa quite a bit. Chinese has done is they are now buying up huge amount. You know why the Chinese are investing in African countries? They are giving grants, they are giving loans, and when the countries are not being able to pay, they are saying that give us the land, give us the mines. So they are securing mines for the next 100 years. We are also doing it. India now is securing mines in Africa, in Indonesia, in Australia, in various other areas just to buy. We have to use our own mines. Is it possible? Do we have that? Oil has peaked. And within the next 20 years, these are also going to be. We did a small study, but that study was never published. It was in Bangladesh. I can share with you the gist of that study. It was done by World Bank to see what is the effect of use of topsoil in brickmaking. You have seen brickmaking here. We use the topsoils. Bangladesh has roughly around more than 7,000 brick kilns, and they always use the topsoil. They are a country which has 80% of their land is cultivated. They don't have any more land. 20% is houses, the rivers, ponds and other things, you cannot do anything on that river. So 80% is cultivated. In that 80%, at any given time, you can do 3 crops. Out of that 80%, around 50 to 60% they have already done and already doing 3 crops. So you can increase it by another couple of percentage. With the kind of population growth that is going up and the kind of soil that is going into brick making, we had predicted that in the next 25 years, the country will go into famine. Or they will have to over-depend on importing food materials, and that is happening now. And that is going to result in civil unrest. The World Bank never published this because this was anti-government kind of an report. They said that no, we cannot publish it, but that was the kind of thing that is going on, and it is soon going to come over. We have enough coal to last us for 40 years. We don't have beyond that. We have. Does it mean that our thermal power plants will going to stop? You don't have energy, you don't have power. How will you run the AC, run the lights? You have enough limestone to last us for 60 years. Does that mean that, well, limestone is the primary raw material for making cements. So if you don't have cement, how are you going to make your buildings? How are you going to make the construction? So there is a concern. We are right now utilizing 1.5 times purposes for your livestock. Women do travel in the areas that we work in Bundelkhand around 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers to bring in firewood. They can't afford gas cylinder. And all the cooking is done indoors. And one of the major, that was a study that was done by institutions in US also. One of the major, and this is widely accepted, if you can on the internet you will get. One of the major reason India has the highest India has the highest infant mortality in the world. Probably a couple of lakhs die every year. Some even before they are born from pregnant mothers, in some after they are born. The reason is indoor air pollution. Especially in rural areas where people burn wood, and the kind of carbon monoxide and the kind of carbon dioxide that goes into, that affects the health of the mother and the baby. I was talking about affluenza. This is in 1994. Picture will not much change. This is the total possession of a family, Yadav family. It is especially in the central part of India that they have house, mud house, ek chapai, photos and some utensils. And if I compare it with in US, Texas, see how much of total possession that they have. 3 houses, 2 cars, books, everything. Compare the inequality. Prajapatis of Bundelkhand. This is that 1 week's food. This is the amount that this whole family eats. 260 rupees. But it was in 2015. This might double. And if you see what a family in US or Europe consumes, same 4 members. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 members. 8 members, this is the amount of food that they consume. 4 members, this is the amount of food either they consume or the waste. Talking now. In Ujjain, forget about foreign. This is India. Family in Ujjain. This is the food that is there for 1 week. And in certain cases, people don't have even a morsel to eat. These are true pictures. This is what is. All of you are sitting over here. You will get a very important picture of India. That's some of the real. So what we need to do. What we are now thinking as previously we used to think that we will have to work from here. You produce raw materials, it is going to go into production, it is going to go into distribution, going to use, and then it is going to be waste, and you throw out that waste. From that waste, if you have to say, this is what is existing technologies which are there based on industries, based on the physical chemistry, and they are hugely resource. What we need to think of it is future the industries will be based on disruptive. And all of you have a very important role to play as you go ahead. Disruptive technologies, some technologies we have not even thought of. And all of you are young minds here. So we would very much bank on you to think of. And when I use the word for disruptive, means think out of the box. And when you think of reducing and using the waste, I'm showing you some example. But when you are looking at this, this is absolutely very, very important. You cannot ignore the people. The photos that I showed you, the child and his daughter and his sister, you cannot ignore that fact. So prosperity or human well-being has to be taken into account, and the health of that ecosystem. So whenever you are thinking of any technologies or any economics, both of these has to be considered. When you consider this, then only that sustainability is going to be achieved. Give you some experiences over the last 4 decades. Based on our experiences, what we can think of. Giving you some examples, there are lots of them. Today, people are bringing in water from their tanks. Tomorrow, these are some of the technologies that can come. Water rollers. It reduces drudgery. Well, still, people have to bring it from a couple of kilometers, but it reduces the drudgery of clean drinking water. These are very, very low cost water filters, which people can use even in rural areas. And these are to stop that kind of indoor air pollution. You can have these clean bookstores. What we have been doing at Development Tortillas over the last couple of years, if you happen to, we would like you to invite you to our place in Bundelkhand. It is very 7 or 8 kilometers from there. In 1994, we were given 10 acres of land. That was a history, small story behind it. We went and approached the government of MP to give us the land. They said that fine. At that time, the chief minister was. So he said that well, some mad fellows has come and asked us that you need a land. That place was absolutely barren. Not a single piece of grass was there. Grass was there, grass and stone, not a single tree. We said that no, we need that land. So the MP government gave us, not for free, but they took us and token money of 1 lakh. The first thing that we did was, and there was a purpose of taking that land, because there was a small stream, dry stream that flows nearby, which carried all the storm. It was more or less a stormwater drainage of all the rainfall that happens there. It brings the water. So we did 2 check dams. These are check dams. We built 2 check dams there, all around the river, and a couple of 100 meters away. After 3 years, or after 4 years, now that area is a reserve forest. We didn't plant a single tree. Not a single tree we had planted. Everything came up on its own. Reserve forest, and now well, it has been designated reserve forest with monkeys and deers and all coming up. So this is what small things can do to change the entire ecosystem of that region. We have been going there, constructed around 200 check dams, which has been able to conserve roughly around a couple of billion liters of water. Community-based solar power plants, no electricity in those areas, don't need any electricity. To set up this community-based power plant, but which you can do economic activities. All of you have seen, when you are walking in the road, you have seen this waste that is dumped. These waste are now being dumped in rivers, waste are being dumped in landfills. Anywhere you go in Delhi, it is a mess. I live in Delhi, I live in nowhere. Even if you go at the middle of the night, somebody dumps this entire waste in the road. Instead of dumping it, you can use it. And this is the figure. 716 million tons of waste we produce. India produces every year. This was a live example that we did, utilized it for Ahmedabad city. With Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation, they gave us a project of managing their C&D waste. And we showed it to them. The whole of Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation spent 200 crores of rupees every year in disposing of that waste. In terms of dumpers, in terms of managing waste dumps, in terms of people who used to manage supervisors, this and that. We showed it to them how you can earn 100 crores of rupees from that. Instead of paying 200 crores, you can earn 100 crores. Simple management designs, management principles, plus from the ideas of environment. How do you look at it from the environment? Take the waste, process it, and make this beautiful building materials out of it and sell it. We also did it in Nepal. Nepal, you have heard about that massive earthquake that had happened. Half of this was these were the type of devastation that was happening there. Use those materials which is there and help them in building their own homes. They didn't have to take any raw materials from any other places. So it was a little bit of emotional appeal to them that the house that I'm staying right now, I was staying, or my parents used to stay, I'm using those materials in building my own house. And you can easily do that. Fly ash bricks. Everybody you can see going around, these are fly ash bricks. This is one of the major reasons of air pollution. And if you go, well, Sonipat will also have a thermal power plant. In Punjab, there are quite a lot of thermal power plants. If you visit there in the summer months, you will never be able to stand so much of pollution. You can use this in making excellent building materials. And there is a science behind it. You cannot simply go there and take it and make a building. Women's. Our major focus was on women. So there were women, very interestingly, women came up to own the enterprises. These are some of the areas that is in Odisha. In Odisha, in Bhubaneswar and Cuttack, now probably 95% of the construction is made with fly ash bricks. Foundry slag. Panipat, there are quite a lot of foundry slag industries. Jalandhar, Ludhiana, those areas. So you can use those foundries. This is now dumped like this. Dumped in the roads. If you see those pictures, these are dumped in the roads. You can use them in making excellent building materials. Waste soil. We have worked with, a lot of you have heard probably of Auroville in Pondicherry. So we have been working with them, Auroville, in making this compressed earth blocks. It will not be applicable for all the areas, but while you have a typical soil, it can be made. This is a house which is a 4-story without any column structure. All of your houses that you see here will have columns and beams. Not a single column or beam was there. These are all pillars made with compressed earth blocks. And this is a house that was made, which can be made within 24 hours and shifted. To dismantle it, dismantling takes 8 hours. Shipping it to any places, whatever time it takes, and within 16 hours you can construct it. Somebody, probably people who are in Rajasthan, they will be able to relate this. What is it?
It's near its main. The master. It's the marble slurry.
Exactly. This is marble sludge. This is marble sludge in.
It's ahead of its main
Kishangarh.
Kishangarh.
Yes, you are right. This is the marble sludge in Kishangarh. Millions of tons of some in this. This plant was planted by a film industry to do some shooting. Otherwise, this was a dead plant. Nobody knows about it. You from this end to this end, it is 7 kilometers. From this end to this end, it was 40 kilometers. So 40 kilometers by 7 kilometers multiply it by we excavated till 40 feet there. Still we got sludge. We couldn't go beyond that. Can you understand the billions of tons of waste that you have there? Every day you are producing it. Marble sludge, Kota stone dust, everything. Kota stone dust is near Kota, which is a place called Ramgaj Mandi, where you have 7 million tons of Kota stone dust in India. It is right now down. Go to Google Earth, see that place, you will be amazed. So what we have been doing there is we have been using it in making in cement. So in cement, instead of the limestone that you use in raw materials, you can use these waste materials to make good quality cement. I will come to that. Brick making. This is of course not in India. India used to be there. Still, this is there in southern part of India, but not much. This is in Africa. This is the kind of wood that you use in brick firing. And we have done a study of, again, we have told that within 40 years, not 40 years, within 15 years, that a country like, we did it in a small country like, say, Malawi, which is between north of South Africa, between South Africa and Tanzania, very small, near the Great Africa, where the whole country is going to turn into a desert in 15 years if this is not stopped. Each and every year, they use roughly around 100,000 tons of full-blown trees to produce bricks. All are unauthorized. The government doesn't replant it. A lot of people will say, but this is a renewable fuel. Yes, it is a renewable fuel, that is fine. That is agreed. But if you are not replanting the trees, then you are cutting it down. And it is not carbon neutral. So we are now trying to introduce their brick making activities, but this is also a picture of Nepal. Yes. These are the kind of bricks that are being chemistry or liquid is with new kind of technologies, these are the kind of things that can now happen. Very, very small. It doesn't need very, I would say, difficult science to do this. But if somebody has the urge to change it, it is about using your own IQ. It is about going to the field, seeing it, observing it, talking to people. In certain cases, these people who are working in the field, they are more knowledgeable than us. The only thing is that they can't express their knowledge in the kind of terms, the scientific terms that we understand. But all of these things that you see, half of them have been learned by interacting with the people who doesn't know how to read and write. But the knowledge that they have, the traditional knowledge that they have, that is immense. This is again using bricks to reduce the coal consumption, reduce the fuel consumption using waste materials. Waste fly ash, waste straw, any kind of organic waste. And I showed it to you the African slide where you have that kind of an wood that is being used. This is the kiln that we developed in Africa. You cannot see, and this is running, you cannot see any smoke coming out. Some amount of moisture here, white, little. And this has been counted as the world's most energy efficient kiln. Nobody knows about it a little bit. We have not been promoting this. But yes, these are, and in Africa, I would not say in Asia, but in Africa, Africa is still 50 years behind us. But the social conditions, the geographical conditions, and the cultural conditions are more or less same that in India. They can relate to us, we can relate to them. So, the kind of opportunities that are there in taking Indian technologies there is absolutely immense. I've never seen, they have neem trees more than in India, in Africa, especially in Kenya. And they simply just burn it the throat. They don't know what to do with the neem. I said that you can eat it. But no, when you eat it, half of your disease is going to go away. You will not turn obese. They said, but how do you eat it? You can turn this neem into soaps. You can use it as a disinfectant. And nobody has to. You will be able to relate this. Gujarat or Rajasthan. These are all clay mines which had been opened up, but since the color was red or the quality was not that good, it was rejected, the mines was closed. People didn't knew what to do with it. Because everybody was looking at a semi-red clay by the way to make this China tubs and things. This you cannot make anything. Went there, developed, and this was a research project along with IIT Bombay and IIT Madras and university in Cuba, University of Santa Clara in Cuba, and EPFL Polytechnic in Switzerland. All four of us, and including Tara, developed this cement out of it. This is incidentally limestone. I showed it to you this picture. You can make cement out of this. These are all waste products. Took those materials, produced it in cement plants, large cement plants. Ultratech, JK Cement, JK Lakshmi. Produced all different types of building materials to test its versatility, how versatile it is. And then, yes, the cement was, now the BIS has accepted it, the BIS code is there, we are now working with, probably it is going to come into the market by the next, sometime this year. That in the corner, this is the building of the Swiss embassy in New Delhi. They have used this. They said that, well, if you are supporting this, you should be the first one to use this. Various types of building materials which can be re-engineered. Never you have seen these bricks, but these are very important building materials, especially for the hilly areas like Himachal, Uttarakhand, and other areas. We had been working with well, you have heard his name in Ladakh, in Leh, on making and brick with straw. Leh is a place that will not be applicable here. Leh is a place where you don't have rainfall. It's a desert. And the temperature goes well, in the summer months it is 15 degrees or 20 degrees. In the winter it is minus 20, minus 30, minus 40. So, with that bricks, fiber-based brick, compressed, you can use a little bit of clay. If you can make good buildings, proper design, even at a minus 30 degree temperature outside, the inside temperature is close. You can easily stay. So these are some of the different types of building materials that is available all around the country, and we have been working towards it. This is again all materials. This is the house in Uttarakhand, in Chamba, with all materials produced locally. Small enterprises. The only thing that they need is technical support. Don't worry about money, they have all the money. The only thing that they need guidance is they have been traditionally building it with red bricks. Red bricks are not environmental. So you have to give them knowledge on what are the things that they can build. Keeping the traditional structure the same. You cannot destroy this traditional structure. And of course, last couple of slides, last two slides, this was our headquarters building. From 1970 not 1970, I mean 1990 to 2005. This was a building made with entire mud and wood. Not a single piece of cement was used. Adobe is used. But We were growing, so we needed a bigger building. So we turned down this building and made this one. So you can say what is the difference between this one, that was a building, this was a building. All the materials that you saw in the red one were recycled to make bricks out of it. 80% of the materials were recycled. 80%, there was less amount of steel. This got the NDTV Toyota Award in 2007 of the greenest building in Asia. Some of you probably have visited this building. Thank you. If you have any questions or anything that you want to discuss, I will be very happy to. Everything that I cannot answer, professors are sitting here, they will be much technically capable to answer them, but I will try. Yes, please.
On the cement slide, you mentioned about clinker factor.
Clinker factor, yes. Normally, if you see, there are two types of cement that are available in the country right now, which is used. One is called OPC and the second thing is called PPC. OPC is ordinary Portland cement, where your clinker is, I'm coming to what is clinker. Clinker is 95 and the 5% is gypsum. In PPC, 70% is clinker, 25% is fly ash, and 5% is gypsum. What is clinker? Clinker is nothing but raw limestone. So you take, clinker is calcium carbonate, little bit purity where you have the calcium oxide content of around 50%. So take calcium carbonate, you heat it along with some amount of silicon, other thing to heat it. The CO2 goes away and then you are left with CaO. That CO gets with the silica of the materials which is there to give you calcium silicate, which is the binding material in the cement. If you put water, then it forms different phases of binding. What we have been doing, so it is clinker essence. What we have been doing is, and where does cement or brick is one of the called hard to abate sectors for emissions. The cement sector alone contributes to 8% now, 8% of the global emissions. And cement is used in construction. The construction sector contributes to roughly around 30% of the global emissions. So, if we can reduce some amount of emission, then that is huge. So, what we have, and if I am eating limestone, 40% of the CO2 that is being emitted, that comes from the fuel that I am using. I mean, I have to use coal. There are no other fuels. So when I am burning coal, it emits CO2. So 40% of the total emission is coming from the CO2. The rest 60% is coming from the chemical dissociation of calcium carbonate. CaCO3 is equal to CaO plus CO2. When that CO2 goes above that, goes into the atmosphere, that gives you 60% of the emissions. That is why cement production is highly carbon intensive. So what we are trying to do here is we are trying to reduce the clinker content from 70 to 50 to 40, keeping the properties of the cement the same. So the cement that has been developed along with IIT, we have tested it in, there is a place called Udambula. It is near Kanyakumari, where you have the nuclear power plant that is coming. So all along the sea, the structures we call tetrapods, the tetrapod structures has been made with it, will be made with it. If we have tested one, it gave fantastic results, better than the normal concrete. So L&T now is going to use those LC3 based structures. We are in talk with Jewar Airport, Noida Airports Authority, to use LC3 in the Noida Airport. Plus, we are also in dialogue with an university in Pune, Symbiosis University. We are also constructing a campus, a green campus. I think it is some 600 acres or something. But they would also like to use this. Please.
mentioned that it's the third cement thing that came up in last 2 to 3 years. So, could you brief us about a little bit about the challenges which come up, because cement is one of the most important factors when it comes to construction, and this less options or this less green options available is kind of concerning. So maybe what are the challenges?
Previously, cement was invented 50 years ago during the Roman times. They were using, at that time it was not clinker, but it was limestone. Very good limestone. Over the years, we have been able to develop only these two cements. There was not a third one. So, people generally looked at cement as a material where you have to use clinker. Because clinker is one of the most important things that gives you the strength. People have not looked at if by using any other materials that I can get the same strength or the same properties. Not yet looked at. Incidentally, this was discovered. I was using the word for disruptive technologies. This was one of the prime example of a disruptive technology. The professor in Cuba, Professor Fernando Martinez, in Cuba you have age-old Russian technologies, 100 years old. When they call it the wet kiln, it is obsolete now anywhere in the world. Cuba has quite a lot of limestone, and they had an embargo with US. They couldn't import any technologies, any other things. One fine morning, what they did was they produced a lot of bricks. He crushed the bricks, mix it with the cement, with the raw cement, and then he got an excellent result. He said that why not? So after that, it started to kind of research shape supported by the Swiss government, and then we wanted to understand the science behind it. So that was the work that was done in the early 2000. Once the cement was developed, and once then we tried to understand the technology of it, how can we reduce it? And by that time, since the science was understood of what is the materials that gives me the strength and what additional materials that I can develop to give me similar strength, similar properties, then we played with the composition. And that is where we introduced marble dust, we introduced other materials to reduce the clinker. And this cement, we are very proud to say that this is one of the very important applications, especially in marine industry constructions, where you have, where you cannot build structures made with normal cement. You can. I'm not saying that you cannot, but life is very simple. If you see, due to this huge amount of salt that is there in the sea water and all, it degrades after 4-5 years. It helps, it cracks. This cement has a life expectancy. Theoretically, it is derived by IIT Madras to be of 125 years, compared to normal cement of 25 years. Yes.
About in Nepal, people are building houses from the construction and option days, and knowing the fact that climate change is an important issue right now. So are these buildings disaster resilient? Which are made out of recycled buildings? Are these buildings disaster resilient in case there's a disaster? So
the materials. Let me go back. The materials are not disaster resistant, but the construction process. If you see this bricks, these are two hoods. Previously, what happened in Nepal was that these are very old construction. It is not new. Mainly, they were made with bricks without any concrete columns or pillars. 1 story. Hilly areas you don't construct with 5-story or 10-story. 2-story, 1-story or 2-story. These are all load-bearing structures. So when it was earthquake, everyone felt. Right now, what we are doing is, if you see here, the steel which is there, we had very steel. Initially thought that has to make a disaster resistant house, so that during